Ladies and gentlemen, I know what you're thinking. You see a young Australian bloke in a singlet with a purple wristband and a silver chain bringing up a crypto chart, and you think, this guy doesn't have anything to offer. Well, I'll tell you what, I've got plenty to offer, ladies and gentlemen. I've been offering it for years, and I'm going to offer you some more today. This is unfiltered market analysis, looking at where exactly Bitcoin needs to avoid breaking down below in order to avoid a correction. Now, why is this video topic even being discussed? Well, it's being discussed because we know from a cyclical level that Bitcoin is basically in correction territory. If we are copying 2021, which the data seems to suggest we are doing at this point in time, we have the all-time high resistance from the price cycle. There it is at around 69,000. We broke that all-time high resistance, and in 2021, we saw our first parabolic move. We have every reason to believe at this point in time that we are copying that first parabolic move above the all-time high. That is supported by the structure itself. That is also supported by the fact that Bitcoin dominance has started dropping just like it started dropping on that first parabolic move in 2021. So right now, we're either at the top of that first parabolic move or we're not quite there yet. We've got a little bit higher to go. The point is a correction is due at some point, whether it's right here or a little bit higher. And the question we're asking is, we're not quite in a correction yet. I mean, you look at Ethereum, we're not quite in a corrective move yet. We've found resistance, very strong resistance from resistance zone setting backwards from March, which is 8 months ago at this point, or 9 months ago. So very strong resistance. Same thing with the total 3. The altcoin market cap has found resistance from its 2021 all-time high on a weekly candle close. So there's resistance here, but nothing's really dropping. So we're kind of just waiting around. It's like, do we correct here? Do we not? We know that it kind of makes sense to see a correction on the macro scale, but nothing's confirmed yet. So at what level would that confirmation come? Where does Bitcoin need to avoid dropping below in order to avoid a correction and continue higher for a little bit longer? And that's what we'll discuss today. Shouldn't take too long, just a few levels to look at. So let's get into it. Before we do so, leave a comment down below if you want to. It helps me out in the algorithm, but also check out these exchanges here. We've got the BitGet exchange, if you're interested, and the Bitcoin exchange. Now, BitGet is available to everyone except for people from the USA. So if you're from the USA, go over to Bitcoin, and Bitcoin is available to everyone, okay? It's a global non-KYC exchange. BitGet is KYC, so it really depends on what you're looking for here, but they're both very good exchanges. I've handpicked them myself. I reached out to these guys personally for partnership. They did not reach out to me. I didn't get offered anything for this. I just got an affiliate link, and that's what I've got. So use my link down below, get that 15% trading fee discount attached to your account for life, exclusively with my link down below on either Bitcoin or BitGet. Get on a good exchange and help me out as well by using those links. Appreciate it, guys. Let's get into the content. So very simply put, previously, I've said that a correction would be confirmed to start at a breakdown of this pink line right here. We're on the Bitcoin logarithmic chart on the daily chart, and we can see a pink support line, which has acted as support and resistance on multiple occasions, stemming backwards from February. You can see it right there. You can see it right here as well, marking a low in April during a very brutal correction we saw in the market, and then marking a low right here, marking highs over here, and marking lows on a couple of occasions in this recent consolidation range. So this is very clearly a very important line. And that was the line I looked at, the other day. I said, if we break down below that, a correction occurs. But I actually think we can do a little bit better than that, because that line, although it is a valid line, although that does kind of hold true, that line's all the way down at 93,000, which is more than 10% away. So, waiting 15% in order to confirm a correction is a little bit of a long wait. You can see altcoins drop quite massively in that period of time. Now, I'm not macro bearish, by the way. I believe that if we see a correction, we'd be higher within a month. I don't think it'd be long lasting. Just like in 2021, I think we're copying 2021 pretty much. And just like in 2021, we saw a correction. Let's go to the daily chart. Just take a quick look here. We saw a pretty damn brutal correction, 32% drop in a matter of, 14 days, essentially. Let's actually get that exact. 32% drop in a matter of 14 days. I was right. So 2 weeks of correction. It was brutal. It was very harsh. Bitcoin got tanked. Altcoins didn't go down much at all, really. In fact, altcoins held up pretty well, but Bitcoin got tanked. But the point is, we went upwards after it. So it's not like it was the end of the world. It would just be a short-term pullback. I believe the bull market structure is very much intact. And so it wouldn't be the end of the world at all. But in order for us to do TA, we need to know when that correction would be confirmed, when it would start. Because right now we're still in the upwards move. We could very well just do another leg to the upside here. There is upwards, upwards absorption, which is good to see, bullish absorption. So where would that correction start? Well, one way to look at it, as I said, is this pink line right here, although we'd be waiting quite a lot in order to get that confirmation. But another way to look at it, which I've identified recently, in fact, I identified earlier today, is this line right here in yellow. And this is the Bitcoin linear chart, and it's also range specific. So one of the issues with this line here, it's not an issue necessarily, but it's an issue if we're doing short-term analysis, is it's not range specific, if I can say the word correctly. This is, so it gives us a more short-term viewpoint. We have a very major amount of retests here. We have 3 retests on an upside resistance. We have 1, 2, 3, 4 separate retests on a downside support retest. That makes 7 retests, making this a very, very valid line, which is further bolstered by the kind of matching relative RSI support line here in the 4-hourly chart, RSI in yellow. So all I'll say is this. If Bitcoin breaks below this yellow line on the price chart, and it has to break below, in my view, this RSI yellow line as well on the 4-hourly chart, that would be adequate confirmation to confirm that a correction has begun, and then Bitcoin would be looking to touch any of these red lines here as potential targets on that move. Now, if it goes below this lowest red line, which is 86,000, it breaks below this entire range, and then we see a more significant correction. So 86,000 is the lowest point we can go in which we can claim that this is a short-term pullback. If we drop below 86,000, we drop below the low of this range, and we enter a more macro correction, or a more, let's say, longer-term correction. It wouldn't be detrimental to the bull market or anything. In fact, it'd be quite normal, but it would be a more significant correction that would potentially take a lot longer to resolve. And that would also be a sign, by the way, that we're deviating from a 2021 structure and we're forming our own unique kind of structure in this bull run. So this chart tells us a couple of things. It tells us where the Bitcoin support is, here in yellow on the 4-hourly chart, and also here in yellow on the 4-hourly chart RSI. It also tells us that 86,000 is a very important zone, because going below that will put us in a more long-term correction rather than a short-term pullback, which again would not be detrimental to the bull market. Now, what would be detrimental to the bull market is dropping below or dropping within the Gaussian channel on the weekly chart, for example. So you look at the Gaussian channel on the weekly chart and you see that, generally speaking, other than in 2011, which was an exception, that was pre-cycle, right? So since the 4-year cycle began in 2012, we see that whenever we enter this, we continue through it. So we enter it from the upside, we continue through to the downside, we enter it from the downside, we continue through to the upside. This has happened on every single occasion without failure. We move through the Gaussian channel when we enter it, which is like 7 or 8, maybe even 9 occasions now. Very, very accurate indicator. And the Gaussian channel currently is sitting at around 62,000. So realistically, as long as Bitcoin's above 62,000, we're fine on a macro scale. We could be a little bit more conservative with that and actually say that as long as Bitcoin is above 74,000, we're fine on a macro scale, because that is the recent high that acted as resistance for 8 months. So dropping back below that level would be a very bearish flip of support, which should be very well tamed by now. So realistically, if Bitcoin drops below 74,000, you can pretty much kiss your bull market hopes and dreams goodbye. It's over. It's done. But until then, we're fine. And obviously 86,000, which is our short-term level, is well above 74,000. So there's really nothing to be concerned about on a macro scale here. Just looking at this line for short-term confirmation of a correction. And hopefully we don't see a correction. Hopefully we just continue upwards. That would be great to see, of course. But it wouldn't be any problem on a macro scale to see a correction. Don't get too stressed if we see one. Those are the lines you need to be looking at. So guys, hopefully that made sense to you. If it did, leave a like, subscribe, comment, do all that stuff if you're interested. And also, obviously, as I said before, if you're interested, check out the exchanges. Bitunix, global non-KYC, never been hacked before. Very good stuff here. 15% trading fee discount with my referral link down below. 30 seconds to sign up, get on a good exchange. And BitGet as well. If you want a more well-known exchange that is KYC, unfortunately, it's still good. You can check it out if you're interested. Link is down below. And the last thing I'll mention is my VIP group on Telegram. If you want to get altcoin trading signals posted by myself on Telegram, you can see it on the screen right there. This is the information and results group, and it has, of course, information and results 4 times a week posted. Group chat access, and also the results. It's all transparent, so check it out. Guys, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. I'll catch you soon.